Commons Public Bill, second reading, projet de loi d'intérêt public des communes, deuxième lecture, number 3, Bill C-316.
Senator Mercer.
Honourable Senators, I move that this bill be now read a second time.
It is moved by the Honourable Senator Mercer, seconded by the Honourable Senator Day, that this bill now be read a second time. Senator Mercer, on debate.
Honourable Senators, I rise today to speak on Bill C-316, an act to amend the Canada Revenue Agency Act, organ donors, introduced in the other place by MP Len Weber from Calgary Confederation. April the 21st to 27th is known as National Organ Donor and Tissue Donation Awareness Week in Canada, to raise awareness about the critical need for more donors across the country. It has morphed into a month-long campaign, and for good reason. You will all recall that on April the 6th, 16 young people were killed and 13 injured in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash. According to Canadian Blood Services, there were 99,742 registrations in that April alone following the crash and the news that one of the victims of the tragic accident, Logan Boulet, signed a donor card after his 21st birthday, weeks before the crash. He ended up saving 6 lives. Honourable Senators, in the wake of tragedy, there's always hope. This bill proposes a very simple, very effective method to increase the size of the organ donor and tissue donor base here in Canada. 1, use the annual tax form to ask Canadians if they would like to become a registered organ or tissue donor, and 2, if they consent to have this information passed to their provincial government for addition to their existing registries. It augments the provincial practices in place to collect information, namely from online registries, driver licenses, and healthcare cards. This bill is modeled on the successful inclusion on the tax form of the question asking Canadians if they want Elections Canada to be kept informed of their current information. Many of us here most often will ask how much will this cost? Surprisingly, I can give you a firm answer: $4 million. In fact, it is already planned for in the fall economic statement. Government response to Bill C-316 regarding increased organ donations on page 105 of the 2019-2020 fiscal year budget is $4 million funding for the Canadian Revenue Agency to collect individual consents to share personal information with provinces and territories for the purpose of receiving further information on becoming an organ donor. Funds have been already allocated in anticipation of this bill's passage. That shows how much support there is for this legislation. There has also been strong support from all members of the House of Commons, and they quickly passed this private member's bill. We must pass the bill. It's our job to pass the bill next, but does that mean we should just pass it? No. We must do our due diligence and study the bill in committee. We must hear what senators' concerns are, if any, and we must follow the legislative process. This does not mean, however, that we need to prolong it. There's some very important reasons why, honourable senators, that time is of the essence. One donor can save up to 8 lives through organ donation and enhance the lives of up to 75 people through the gift of tissue. This is especially important because more than 4,500 Canadians are waiting for a transplant. 90% of Canadians support organ donation, yet only 25% of us are registered to donate. That makes us one of the lowest in the industrialized world for organ donation rates. Let's try to fix that. Earlier this month, my home province of Nova Scotia became, and I believe it's the first jurisdiction in North America to do so, to allow for presumed consent for organ donation, which could increase rates by as much as 50%. We will wait to see what happens, but it is very, very encouraging. In fact, I remember when I was executive director of the Nova Scotia Kidney Foundation, it seems like a zillion years ago, we lobbied the government of Nova Scotia of the day to include organ donation registration on driver's licenses. They agreed to do that, and I'd like to thank Senator Tom McGuinness, who at the time was the provincial minister of transportation, who made it happen for us after he agreed. It was terrific. Shows that we can work together. It doesn't matter that we're of different political stripes. Honourable Senators, these are all tools with means to an end. More organ and tissue donors. And that is a good thing, a very good thing. A multi-pronged approach to actively save lives is always a good thing. I look forward to the debate on this bill and the committee hearings where we will hear just how important organ donation is and what this bill can do to save lives. I'm told by the sponsor of the legislation that in order to have the option the bill proposes, we need to ensure that we try to pass this legislation soon so it can be included in next year's tax packages. Canada Revenue Agency has said if this bill is not passed before the summer recess, we will not see the question on the 2019 tax returns, and this important initiative will be delayed another full year. I would like to thank MP Len Weber for his excellent effort in getting this bill through its stages to this point, and we would like to highlight again that all parties in the other place support this bill. In my history as Executive Director of the Kidney Foundation, I had the pleasure and honor to meet many organ donor recipients. And I also had the pleasure to meet a lot of people still waiting. I remember one young man from Nova Scotia who he was from Cape Breton. His mother had donated a kidney. It failed eventually. His father donated a kidney. It failed eventually. His sister donated a kidney, and it failed eventually. Finally, he did receive a kidney from an accident victim, and it lasted quite a while, and he went on to live a reasonably productive life. These are people that just want to get on with their lives. They've got energy. They want to do things, and by the luck of the draw, they have this disability that prevents them from doing that and contributing. And we have so many people who are dying from various causes, whether it be accidental or through other means, that their organs are going in the ground when they could be saving lives and helping people have having productive lives and families could stay together. As I say, it was my pleasure when I was executive director of the Kidney Foundation to meet so many of these people, and it was always heartbreaking when time ran out. The interesting thing about it is when we had the organ donor card added to the driver's license in Nova Scotia, that was a very important breakthrough. But sort of around the same time, Nova Scotia, and like all other provinces, brought in mandatory seatbelts. So it was good news and bad news. Good news was it was saving the lives of the people in car accidents. The bad news was that there weren't more people dying in car accidents, providing more potential donors of organ donation. But it's more important that people say to themselves and say to their families, I want to be an organ donor if when the time comes. You know, I've told my family that. My family has told me that, what they want to do if it's their time. So, honourable senators, what an honour it would be to see this option on the 2019 tax returns. What an honour it would be for more Canadians to be able to show their willingness to save the lives of those who are waiting for transplants. Thank you, honourable senators.
Senator Omidbar.
Senator Mercer, I appreciate very much your tabling of this important piece of legislation. And like many others, we all have members in our...
Question.
I'm going to adjourn. I'm just warming up, Madam Chair. And I want to say to Senator Mercer that he is urging us to pass this bill very quickly, and I believe in quick passage, timely passage, not quick, good reflection, debate, decision, and I think that should apply not just to this bill, urgent as it is, but to all other items on the order paper. In that sentiment, Chair, I move adjournment of the debate.
It is moved by the Senator Omidbar, seconded by this Honourable Senator Saint-Germain, that further debate be adjourned until the next sitting of the Senate. Is it your pleasure, Honourable Senators, to adopt the motion? Carried.